My royal African family. Today, we'll be discussing what Garveyism is. Garvey and Garveyism by Brother Minister. The first question that, people ask, who is Marcus Garvey? Marcus Garvey is a revolutionary who gave his entire life trying to uplift and bring power to the African race. Marcus Garvey is the only man, to my knowledge. Right? So if there's another man in history that has done what Marcus Garvey has done or attempted to do it, somebody needs to message me and share that information with me so I can stop saying that Marcus Garvey is the only man, right, in history that attempted to do what he had done. Out of the billions of people that came on this earth, many die and then come back again. Like a person dies, people born, and nobody has come with this kind of thinking. This is Marcus Garvey, his beautiful wife, and his 2 children. Garveyism. Garveyism is revolutionary thinking and action. Garveyism is a cultural revolution. Many people have asked me, like, what is Garveyism, man? How does it operate, and what does it take to be a Garveyite, and things of that nature. Now, Garvey had said, merely asserting oneself was not enough. However, the oppressed needed a clear body of ideas to guide them in their quest for freedom and equality. Now, what is these ideas? These ideas are Garveyism. Now, Garvey said this anyway, that this is what a lot of people don't get in their head right now, yeah? But this is what Garvey said. Because my belief is founded upon a hard and horrible experience, not a personal experience, but a racial one. The world has made being black a crime, and I have felt it common with men who suffer with me. And instead of making it a crime, I hope to make it a virtue. You get people, right, that will say things like, oh, I'm French. I'm not black. I'm French first. Or, I'm not black, African first. I'm Muslim first, and then I'm whatever after, or I'm Christian, or, race doesn't even matter. But the thing about it is, the world doesn't work like that, right? Yes, you may be a person that doesn't see color on those things, treat people how they treat you, etc., etc. But the world doesn't work like that. Like, the world is run, sadly, in color, race, and nations. This is how the world is run. So, what is it that Garvey believed? What is it? Now, on page 81, right, of the Philosophies and Opinions of Marcus Garvey, Garvey states what it is the UNIA believe. Now, the UNIA advocates the unity and the blending of all Negroes into one strong, healthy race. Now, listen to what I'm saying. All people in positions around the world that have the power to do certain things, right? These so-called leaders. Which one of these people, right, wanted or tried to blend all of the Negroes into one strong, healthy race? Now, it is against racial suicide, meaning people that mix their seed, right? It believes that the Negro race is as good as any other, and therefore should be proud of itself as others are. It's true. We should be proud of ourselves. We're black, right? So we should be proud of our experience, our history, our mother, our father, our ancestors. We should be proud, just like other people are. It believes in the purity of itself as others are. It believes in the purity of the Negro race and the purity of the white race. It is against rich blacks marrying poor whites. It is against rich or poor whites taking advantage of the Negro woman. It believes in the spiritual fatherhood of God and the brotherhood of man. It believes in the social and political physical separation of all people to the extent that they promote their own ideas and civilization with each other. It believes in the promotion of a strong and powerful Africa. It believes in the rights of all men. I believe in that too. We believe as Garveyites that in 1924, when Garvey wrote this, in 2000 and soon 24, 100 years later, we still stand by this. So that is what Marcus Garvey wrote, the UNIA believe. And he wrote that in 1924, the 1st of January, and you can find that on page 81 in the Philosophies and Opinions of Marcus Messiah Garvey. Now, Garveyism is what we're here discussing today. Alright? What is it? Now, Garveyism, like I said, is revolutionary thinking and action. Garveyism, as Tony Martin's, our great scholar, the late and great scholar Tony Martin said, that Garveyism, or he explains that Garveyism has three major elements. One being race first, the second self-reliance, and the third nationhood. Now, Garveyism is a huge lifestyle, right? Yeah, because that's what it is, because we live this, right? It's a huge lifestyle, that has many more sections or, faculties to it, but those are the major elements. We're going to add a few more to it for people to get the gist. So let us explore a little bit more. The two slogans of the UNIA summarizes Garveyism. Africa for the Africans, at home and abroad. Now, if the white man has Europe, the yellow man has Asia, the black man must have Africa. Garvey said, he would rather die with his entire race before the white man gets Africa. The motto of the UNIA was one aim, one God, and one destiny. Take that. There's one aim for us as a people. We should serve one creator. And there is only one destination for us as a people, and that is to be liberated. Okay. Now, the UNIA's philosophy was, no matter where a black man finds himself in the world, he's still an African. It doesn't matter if he's in France. It doesn't matter if he's in Germany, Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, the Americas, South America, Brazil, wherever you find yourself and you're black, you're African. A lot of people, to this day, right, they don't want to accept that. Do you understand what I'm saying? They don't want to live that. But the reality is, that's the truth. So, okay then, race first now. A lot of people say to me, you sound like a racist. And I say, no, I'm not racist. I'm race first. And what is race first? Race first is the thinking that we should strive to put our own racial self-interest first in everything we do. Everything. Anything we're doing, we must put our race first in. So that includes supporting our own business, our own professionals, writers, athletes, musicians, artists, and so on. I like to say artists like that, but artists. Right? But, the artists then must be promoting upliftment movement. Now, Garvey said, provided that these people put the people's interests first and that they have used their creative talent to help push the people. Now you get some black businesses out there that they will tell you, I only care about myself. They're not into nothing black. They're just a businessman making money. They won't donate to any black causes. They don't really give a, excuse my language, they don't give a shit in it, right, about our people. Garvey said that we must champion those who champion us. Do you understand? So support those businesses that will take some of their money and donate. A good example of this here is Black Child Promotions, right? Now, Black Child Promotions is a business that provides information to our people in terms of literature, but it is a business. But money from he sells get donated to the Mayat Centre in Tottenham. Now, the Mayat Centre is a place here that the community can use to keep meetings. I've kept meetings there. A good example. So, I always tell people, if you're going to buy books, buy from my brother at Black Child Promotions, because it makes sense. Because if Black Child Promotions becomes a millionaire, he's going to help us out. I can't say that for all of these other businesses. So you champion those that champion us, innit? So big up Black Child Promotions as we're doing this also. Now, this is a touchy situation or a touchy topic. Why? Because you can't tell a man what to do and what not to do, or a woman what to do and what not to do. However, what we're saying is, to be a Garvey, right, we're not into the race mixing. We're not into sleeping around with women of different nations and so forth. That we've pledged to be there for our family, our black sister, our children and so forth. And if it doesn't work out with one sister, you find another sister to work it out with, and vice versa. If it doesn't work out with one brother, you find another brother to work it out with. You don't throw your race under the bus and go and find another person. So Garvey teaches us that people who do so were dissatisfied with their own kind. We've had Garvey talk about in the message to the people, that if you take a woman that's not a part of your mother's race, you're insulting her, your father and God who created them. So we understand that, there's people out there that are marrying the race thinking that, they've won now, they've made it. We're against that. Do you understand what I'm saying? We're totally against that. Now, history. History, right? But before let me go back. All right? Before we get to the history, right? I want to say this, that Garveyism, yeah, is not this peace and love business that some people are out here professing. Garveyism was race pride, was warrior thing. Do you know what I mean? It was building. It wasn't no begging or loving everybody and, just being basically a fool. Garvey says when a fool is getting made, the world looks towards the Negro. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, we don't want to be the laughing stock no more. We don't want to be the fool no more. So it makes sense, yeah, for us to stick within our race. Now, I will also say, yeah, that Garvey also mentioned that Jesus Christ, yeah, the Son of God, came to bring peace and brotherhood, yeah, to the world. And what did the world do to Jesus Christ? They killed him. So what do we look like trying to do the same thing Jesus Christ did and Jesus Christ failed? It's not going to work, innit? Our main focus should be focusing on how to build up our people, innit? Right? How to make ourselves powerful. That makes more sense, innit? That's where we're at now. So moving on to history. History is very, very important because they've taught us, yeah, that we was in Africa, eating people, boiling them in pots, and you watch their movies and you see how they project us as a people, right? And Garvey knew that was a load of crap. Garvey said that history is told or written with prejudice. There has never been a white historian who wrote with any true love or feeling for the Negro. And this is true. And I'm still yet to find some historians, white historians, that's gonna tell the truth. You know, when we mention Egypt, for instance, Garvey knew that they were black back then. But when we mention Egypt, for instance, if you read the likes of Herodotus, Herodotus tells you that the Egyptians were black, right? But yet still, when they do their movies, everybody white like Snow White Christmas. You know, so understanding your history, is very important, because you will know yourself, and in doing so, you will know your enemy. Now, Garveyism, like I said, is a thinking. It's a revolutionary thinking. It's how we understand things. It's how we look at things. It's how we break things down. Garvey taught us that history, is written with prejudice. So we don't necessarily take what these people give us as the truth, because we know that these people are prejudiced and these people are racist. But we're still out here seeking knowledge and history, because we know that, if we know history, if we know what took place yesterday, we will know how we got to today. Therefore, we will be able to make, a good decision, or make good preparation for tomorrow. It's because we don't know history why we keep making the same mistakes over and over again. We out here trying to join hands with people and all these kind of things. That's not Garveyism. Garvey said that we have to fight for ourselves. We have to get it together for ourselves, right? If we're going to get respect. This is the thing. So, Garvey was teaching us about black history, black people in history, and was telling us that we've done great things in the past, and we're going to do great things in the future. Because Garvey said anything that man has done before, man can do again. As you can see in this picture, a young sister with a black dolly, one of Marcus Garvey's dolly that he manufactured for our children. Garvey said that we must see beauty in our own kind. And he said, mothers, give your children those that look like them to play with and cuddle. And even today, right, it's been said that if you give children dollies, white ones and black ones, they're gonna go for the white ones and say the black ones is ugly. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there is a deep root hatred for ourselves and seeing ourselves. Do you understand what I'm saying? And Garvey understood this and tried to counteract that propaganda. So Garvey manufactured black dolls, for installing pride and love for self. We must start seeing beauty in our own kind. Even today, the Japanese, doesn't judge the Japanese beauty by American white standards. No, they judge it by how Japanese people look. But the Negro, or the black person, or the indigenous man starts to see himself, see beauty by how much we look like our oppressor. Do you understand what I'm saying? That means the more we look like our oppressor, the more beautiful we are. Garvey came and banned that out, man. In fact, Garvey said, that, the ones that have been mixed, or seeking to be white, they're ugly in spirit and in culture and in character, man. Come on, let's keep it real. So, how else did Garvey do this? In the newspaper, the Negro World, he used to do like beauty contests, right? And have beautiful black women advertised in there, showing their beauty. People could see natural beauty. Garvey wrote a poem called Black Queen of Beauty. You can Google this poem and read it for yourself. But the first line of the poem says, Black Queen of Beauty, thou hast given colour to the world. Among other women, thy art's royal and the fairest, meaning fair, meaning beautiful. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it's true. Black women are the most beautiful women on the face of the planet. You can hate if you want, but it's true. It's true. Ain't no beauty like a black woman's beauty. So then the next thing we're talking about was religion. Now Garvey has tackled religion too. He says, while our God has no colour, yet it is human to see things through our own spectacles. And since the white race has seen their God through white spectacles, we have only started out late though it be, to see our God through our own spectacles. Now, some of the things that Garvey understood, it's amazing, right? That I had to read many books, right, to understand what these people were doing to our people. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, Garvey said this, he put a question. He said, have you ever stopped to think that in the Christian doctrine of today is injected a propaganda that seems to humiliate you and me? He said, these are the things the UNIA question. So Garvey was even questioning religion and Christianity to say, hold on a second. In Christianity, there is a teaching or a doctrine here that is humiliating the African people. Now, when you study Congo, right, and the letter from their King Leopold to his missionaries, you see in that document, in that letter, how they said, go out, don't bother waste your time teaching them about God, about one God and morals, because they already have their God and they already got their morals. Teach them to be passive in it. Teach them to not want money. Teach them not to want to build, because blessed is the meek. Do you know what I'm saying? For he shall inherit the earth. Take these scriptures, and use them, and keep the African man in servitude. Do you understand? And this is exactly what they done to us for 400 years and counting. And Garvey knew, that's why he says, have you ever stopped to think that in the Christian doctrine of today is injected a propaganda that seems to humiliate you and me? These are the things that the UNIA question. So Garveyism, questions everything that they gave us. Garvey even questioned the religious leaders that was out there and asked them, what have you done for the last century? Garvey responds, they have waxed fat at the expense of the Negro, which is true. Even today, you get these big churches, right? 3 services a day, hundreds of people going in, people giving 10% of their earnings. But what are these pastors doing with the money that they're collecting? Are they giving? Are they building anything? They ain't building nothing. Pastor just getting some new shoes and a car. There's no community in there. Do you understand what I'm saying? He doesn't feel that he has to do anything for his own race. Garvey also said that, now the black race has has been praying a long time. Now it's about time we leave the praying and the spiritual stuff for someone else to do it, and we need to get materialistic in the sense that we have to become industrial. You understand what I'm saying? So Garvey said anyway that every race, right, has their own God and their own culture. He said we must too. We must see God through the views of the black race. He goes on to say that there's the difference between the strong and the weak races. The strong race seems to know themselves, and they seem to discover themselves. They know fully that there is but a link between them and the Creator. Because of that feeling, they have been able to hold their own in the world. The Negro, or the black person, has not been able to hold his own in the world because he doesn't know his God. He doesn't have his own culture. Garvey was giving us Garveyism, which is a revolutionary culture. We look at history different. We look at religion different, right? We're not trying to be, priests in the sense that we're going to pray our life away. We're out here trying to build something for our future generation, because the only protection we have is through our own government. Is to be self-reliant, right? Okay, so these are the things that Garvey is discussing, right? So self-reliance, self-reliance. Nobody can say they are free, if they're not providing the service of their people, So Garvey said, listen, buy black, right? Be black, buy black, think black, and all else will take care of itself. It is natural, for all people, all cultures, to provide their race's need. When you go to, for instance, India, they got their spices and their foods, and they cultivate those things. They wear their own cultural clothing. They produce these things, right? Because that's what people do. You know, you can't have a culture and somebody else from outside is providing the needs for your culture. You're not free. You're not self-reliant. This is why the UNIA branches all over the world would try to be self-reliant in whatever way they could. A people would not be able to appreciate freedom fully unless it learnt to do things for itself. In doing so, we will force the world to respect us. So Garvey was teaching us, yeah, that once we get our act together, right, once we do what we need to do, yeah, we will get respect in the world. Because right now, yeah, we're beggars, and Garveyism is not begging for help, especially from the people that enslaved us. No one respected a beggar. With Garveyism, yeah, and the purpose of the UNIA, Garvey said, we will get our liberation. So, you know, that's something to think about, innit? If people start to think history, like religion, everything, build, buy black, be black, and all the rest of it, right? Think black, and all the rest, we will start to get them. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the UNIA, yeah, was organized for the absolute purpose of bettering our conditions. Industrially, commercially, socially, religiously, and politically. Now, this quote here, yeah, that I'm going to read right now is very important, yeah, for people to really get to understand, right? It says, if we must have justice, we must be strong. If we are to be strong, we must come together. And if we must come together, we must have organization. One of African people's biggest problems around the world that we face is we're disorganized. We're not organized. And Marcus Garvey was trying to give us an organization to deal with our problems. Because once we're organized, yeah, we'll be able to mobilize and do things for our people. When it's time to move, we all move. When it's time to stay still, we all stand still. When we look around today, for instance, yeah, I don't see any organizations really out there with Garveyism. I see many organizations dealing with different aspects of Garveyism, but the whole spectrum of it, right? The whole umbrella of it, no one ain't dealing with it. The UNIA is the only organization, right, that has ever dealt with the principles of Garveyism. And some will say, well, of course they did, because, you know, it gets named after the man, etc. But even without the name, right, Garveyism, what it's saying, what it's standing for, how we see ourselves, how we look at the world, what we're trying to get in the world, how we're trying to stand in the world. No organization ain't doing that right now, right? A lot of them dealing with flattery, to be honest with you, and flattery ain't doing nothing for nobody. So, you know, Garveyism is the belief that we can do for self, and we will do for self. So one of the next elements of Garveyism is nationhood. Now, when Garvey wrote the Declaration of Rights, yeah, there was only 2 countries, yeah, in the whole black world that was not run by white people or others, and that was Liberia and Ethiopia. That's something to think about. Like, out of the, you know, at that time there was 400 million black people, right, on the earth. And out of 400 million black people, there was only 2 countries that was free. That's crazy. That's actually crazy, man. So today, yeah, we have 1.something billion of us on the planet. Where is the nationhood today? You know, Garvey told us, yeah, or Garveyism, yeah, is the belief that black people will never be respected by others until Africa is free. And when Africa is free, black people will be strong and respected wherever they find themselves. And yes, that's true. If you look at the Jewish people today, wherever you find themselves, you commit a crime to them, you will have to face a Jewish organization. If If you attack a LGBTQXYZ community, yeah, they have organizations that are gonna come and defend them. But you attack a black woman, you attack a black man, you attack a black child, yeah, where is the organization coming to defend them that have power? Therefore, Marcus Garvey highlights this that our only protection is to have our own government, is to have our own army, is to have our own everything. Garvey even said, that we need to acquire the bomb. And if need be, we might have to touch them up. Garvey said the highest expression of independence here is the sovereignty of a nation. So, we black nationalists out here, man. Do you understand? Come on. We black nationalists out here. Like it or hate it. Many people are running from the nationalism side of things, but, that's the only thing that's ever helped anybody on this earth. So, Garvey goes on to say, as you are aware, the world in which we live today is divided into separate race groups and different nationalities. Each race and each nationality is endeavoring to work out its own destiny to the exclusion of other races and other nationalities. We hear the cry of England for the Englishman, of France for the Frenchman, of Germany for the Germans, of Ireland for the Irish, of Palestine for the Jews, and of Japan for the Japanese, of China for the Chinese. So, it's only right that Africa should be for the Africans. Why was there such a fight when Garvey came out and said Africa for the Africans? Why did you get many Americans and others that was against it? We understand the white power system didn't accept that because they need to control, because they say whoever controls Africa controls the world, because Africa is the breadbasket of the world. All the natural resources and the minerals is coming from Africa. So the UNIA, at the time, was raising the cry of Africans for the African, those at home and those abroad. Right? He says that there are 400 million Africans in the world who have Negro blood in them or in their veins, and they believe that the time has come to unite, right, under one common purpose, the bettering of their conditions and the unifying of the race. You understand what I'm saying? So a lot of people say to me, well, how did Garvey do all of this? Like, how was this made practical? Now, the organization, yeah, there's every chapter, let's look at it like that, right? So if you've got London chapter, you've got Jamaican chapter, for instance, Kingston chapter, or Harlem chapter or whatever. But all of these chapters had sub-organizations inside of them, yeah? So this is just a few of them, yeah? And I'm going to go through at least 3 of them with you tonight, right? So you got the Universal Africans Legions, the African Motor Corps, the Black Cross Nurses, right? The UNIA Juveniles, and the African Redemption Fund, right? Every organization had this in it, right? To organize the people and to get everybody working and everybody involved, because everybody has to be involved in this. Garvey said, that if you want liberation, if you want liberty, if you want freedom, you yourself must strike the first blow, right? It's on you. It's not on Garvey. It's not on me. It's not on anybody else. It's on individuals to strike the blow for liberty themselves. Every black man should raise their arms, right, in defense of the African continent and African people. So here you had the Universal African Legions, the African Motor Corps, the Black Cross Nurses, the UNI Juveniles, and the African Redemption Fund, right? Just an example. Now, the Universal African Legions, was basically for, members, aged 18 to 55, that was in good health. And basically it was teaching these young men or men military skills and giving them discipline. Something that the youths of today could deal with. If these organizations, if the UNIA was still functioning, in its heights, the children on the road would be a part of this legions, and they'll be trained military and they will get discipline, right? The Sphinx was the symbol, and the purpose of the legion was to protect the UNIA and the black community from racist and unjust physical aggression. Do you understand what I'm saying? So Garvey was building a standing army because we didn't have one. Garvey was building it. And white folks were scared, and some black people were scared too. So the Universal African Motor Corps here was open to active members aged 15 to 45 and was to assist the legions in their performance of duties. Now, the Universal African Black Cross Nurses. Now, this one was deep still. Right? This one was deep still. So basically, in terms of membership, yeah, any woman can really join. Do you know what I mean? They was there to carry help. Basically, they were there to help people, man, help the community from unforeseen things like famines, fires, floods, and other calamities. They were there to care for the sick, and to give people preventative medicine, such as like herbs and stuff like that. You get me? Many people might not know that if you take this is good for that, and so forth. It was open to any female aged 16 to 45. What led up to the Black Cross nurses, yeah, was the flu pandemic, right? Just like you have now, yeah, the coronavirus pandemic or plandemic. A lot of black people in the UK, yeah, and around the world, yeah, was not given hospital care. They were told to stay in their house because they didn't have no beds or whatever. The same kind of thing happened with the flu pandemic, right? And Marcus Garvey realized that it left Africans unprotected and defenseless. So, with the help here of Miss Davis, yeah, who helped founded the Black Cross Nurses in Philadelphia in 1920, they decided, yeah, that it was needed, right? But they had a vision for this also. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, for instance, local chapters would establish a matron, head nurse, a secretary, and a treasurer to provide health service and hygiene education to black people. At the time, few programs, yeah, existed that would admit, people of African descent into nursing training, or health facilities. So the Black Cross nurses, yeah, wanted to create an institution that could teach people these things in it. So they even did, they did a course from 6 months to a year course, where they were teaching people, what I mean, and things like that. You get me? And once they finished the course, each member was required to purchase and wear their official uniform. So they would do the course and they would become a member. Do you know what I mean? But ultimately, they wanted to have, black nurses and things like that. And they would, even if anything happened in the world, they could send them out to different parts in the world and help out the people. But Miss Davis, yeah, a great woman. She was one of the original 30 members of the UNIA in New York City. A lot of people have said that Garvey was was racist. He didn't like light-skinned people, and his organizations only had dark-skinned black people in high positions and all of that. Well, as you can see in it, that Miss Davis is a light-skinned lady. The term was that she's an octoroon. I don't like these terms, right? I honestly don't. But that basically shuts out those people that said that that light-skinned people couldn't join the organization, have any position in the organization, which you can clearly see, that wasn't true. Now, not to talk too much about Lady Davis, but for those that want to know more, I think you should go and research her. For a while she was a great help to Marcus Garvey. She made many trips to Africa in the time when Marcus Garvey couldn't get the visa or wouldn't be allowed in the continent and things like that. She was a part of the Liberia team that went over to Liberia. She was born on the 25th of August 1860. Garvey's love for his race and self-reliance, kind of attracted her to the organization. Her stepfather was a man called George A. Hackett, right? He was a leader in Baltimore. In his house, people like Frederick Douglass will come, and other leaders will come and talk with him. He was interested in racial discussions, and obviously had discussions with his daughter about it. So by the time she met Marcus Garvey, it was on and popping. It's also been stated that she was one of the people that Garvey went and spoke to when he was, gonna divorce his first wife, Amy Ashwood. Do you understand what I'm saying? So she, Garvey considered her somewhat as a friend. She's the one that said this movement is ordained, It is the call of the blood in our veins. Like the blood our ancestors, the blood our story. Like this is the answer to it. This was liberate, this was divine, what I'm saying? She was on it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I just want to big up Miss Davis, man, and others in the UNIA that, help Garvey, do this work. Because without the people, nothing could have get done. So salute them all. So, in terms of the self-reliant aspect of things, right? Garvey set up the Negro Factories Corporation, right? And in Harlem alone, Garvey had laundries, tailors, dressmakers. He had the printing house, the Negro World. He had groceries, hotels, restaurants, schools, Liberty Hall, and the Black Star Line. Do you get what I'm saying? That these things, were there to help support the needs of the people. We wanted to keep our dollar black, so we have to create, places where people can spend their money, and the money will benefit the community because it's going back into the organization, where the organization is going to buy ships and all kind of things. It's all linked. It was all linked, but this is the way how Garvey did it, by setting up these things. And we can do the same thing today if we really wanted to. There should be no excuse for us to not be organizing. This picture here was taken from the convention, right? Now, the reason why I put this picture in the presentation is because if you look at the car, the placard in the man's hands, it says, "The new Negro has no fear." So, what is it saying about the old Negro? The old Negro must have been scared. So, the new Negro now, is not having it. Garvey said the old leadership represented us as a race of beggars. The old leadership represented us as a race wanting only an industry school, one of them, and a few churches. The old leadership was satisfied. And they were satisfied to sing and shout, "Give us Jesus and take the world." Now the new Negro says not only churches, not only industrial schools, but we want parliamentary houses, we want houses of Congress, we want national museums, national art galleries, great institutions of learning of our own. The new Negro is demanding, right, or the new Negro demands a leadership which will establish his right to rule. If it is right for the yellow man to rule, it is right for the black man to rule. We're not giving to you more than you give us. Give us a kick and we'll return it with a kick. Give us a smile and we'll return a smile. And you all know, right, that nobody can smile like the Negro. And that was from a speech in July 1921, where Garvey was speaking on leadership, right? And you can find that in selective writings and speeches of Marcus Messiah Garvey. And the chapter is leadership in that book. Now, you know, Garvey says on page 53 of Philosophies and Opinions, yeah, the leadership of this age must be of the soul and not of the head only. If we are to be just, let me read that for you again. The leadership of this age must be of the soul, not only the head. If we are to be just to our followers and win the love of the Lord, it says, or love of God. Now, meaning, yeah, that you have to feel this, man, right? It has to come from inside of you. You can't just think this. You have to feel this. You have to live this, right? This is the way forward, man. So the reality is that we must get together and we must unite and we must build. All of us, from your black, you must pledge to uplift your race, Garvey made the famous speech that everybody's familiar with, where he goes, "Where is the black man's government? Where is his king and his kingdom? Where is his president, his ambassadors, his country, his men of big affairs? I could not find them. And then I declared, I will help build them." And today, we find ourselves in the same position. Like, we can talk about ancient Egypt, right? And ancient great Zimbabwe and, different times in history that we've done some great civilizations and some great things, right? But the reality is in 2021, we're still oppressed and we're still, constantly, terrorized by this terrorist of a people or of a race, right? And Garvey, some of the writings that you may read him, like when he says stuff like, "You race of good for nothing, you race of fools, right? You race of imbeciles. If you can't do what other men have done, then you will die." A lot of people will say that's harsh and Garvey was harsh, but Garvey says in it, I would rather not flatter you to save my own life and that of my family, for there is no value in flattery. You understand? We're not here to give flattery. We're not here for that. And I will repeat, what Garvey said. Garvey said, when a fool is being made, everybody looks to the Negro. So if you're dealing with dancing and foolishness and enjoyment and getting drunk and acting a fool, everybody looks to black people for that, right? They look for us. But when it comes down to, being serious people in society, they're not looking to us for that no more. The new Negro is saying, "Look for me, yeah. In fact, yeah, I'm showing you me, yeah, and you better accept me, yeah. And if you don't, there's gonna be repercussions." Yes, it's true. Yes, it's true. I'm not lying to my people. So the Declarations of Rights for the Negro peoples of the world, yeah. Now this Declaration of Rights was deep, right? In the sense that I think that they stole the Human Rights Charter from it. To be honest with you, I think they stole that from Garvey. But nevertheless, yeah, the Declarations of Rights of the Negro people of the world was drafted and adopted at the Convention of the Negro Improvement Association held in New York City, Madison Square Gardens on August the 13th, 1920. That the Negro people of the world, through their chosen representatives in the convention, assembled in Liberty Hall. Alright, so they're going on to say that, right? So basically, yeah, there is a protest against the wrongs and the injustice that we are suffering at the hands of the white brethren, and states that they deem their fair and just rights, as well as the treatment they propose to demand of all men in the future. So the Declaration of Rights, yeah, that we're going to go into slightly, right, is declaring to the world, that, listen, white man, yeah, like, you better stop your fuckery, excuse my language, because we see what you're doing and we're organizing ourselves, so know that, innit? So know that, innit? So basically, if people go, you can go online as well, right? And you can look at the 54 demands, right? But I'm gonna just, I can't go through all 54, and I think it's a bit it's not fair for me to just go through a few of them, yeah. But I'm just gonna have to do for time purposes, right? I'm gonna just say like a few things that were mentioned, right, was that all people of African descent anywhere in the world should be accepted as free citizens of Africa. Africa must set out to win justice by whatever means possible. Blacks must not be tried by all white judges and juries. The use of nigger must cease. Negro must be written with a capital N. Black history must be taught to black children. Blacks must not be excluded by legislative assemblies. There must be no taxation without representations. Colonial governments must stop the flogging and whipping of Africans as part of punishment for crimes. The practice of shaving the heads of black prisoners, especially the black women, must be stopped. It goes on to say that the black woman here is still widely dishonored and taken advantage of, despite the end of slavery. The delegates, swore that with the help of the Almighty God, we declare ourselves, the sworn-in protectors of honor and virtue of our women and children, and our pledge, right? Or we pledge, our life for their protection and defense anywhere and everywhere under all circumstances. Them the vibration we are taught about, right? The convention also demands that blacks must not fight in white wars. And in captions it says, unless, exceptional situations or circumstances. Also at the convention, we got given the flag. The red, the black, the green. The flag now has been coined the Pan-African flag, but at the time there was no Pan-Africanism, so to speak, right? So that flag is the flag of the race for the Africans at home and those abroad. Also at the convention, the universal Ethiopian anthem was adopted, and this anthem was to be sung at every meeting, at every event. I put this in the slide about the untold story about Marcus Garvey, but I'm going to add it in again. Just look at this, my people, man. Just look at this. Louisiana, 74 chapters. You know what I'm saying? Look at all of these chapters. This is America alone, right? It says there were 725 branches in the United States. Yeah, Garvey in one of his speeches says there was 800. But because of the records that they found, we're gonna go with 725 just for the record. Yeah, right. And look, black people are organizing. Black people are coming to Garveyism everywhere they are. Look at how much states. In some states, you've got so many branches because the states are big. Right, and you got so many branches, and that's not just the America. Let's look outside of America. It speaks for itself, man. People say Garvey wasn't in Africa. Look, you got Gold Coast there, you got Liberia there. Do you know what I'm saying? You got Africa on there. Garvey. A lot of the time, yeah, Garvey's presence in Africa, yeah, has not been shown. Right, and the future, yeah, even probably the next presentation I do, because even this presentation, I cut out so much out of this presentation because, I just had to make it simple for the people. And some of the things that I'm going to talk about as their own thing. So I'm going to have, a separate lecture on this and a separate lecture on that, just on that alone. Do you understand what I'm saying? So Garvey in Africa is his own presentation, man. People are going to be shocked when they see how influential Garvey was in Africa. It's going to blow people's minds. So Garvey told his followers, as a Garveyite, you must read. You must never stop learning. The greatest men and women were people who were educated or who educated themselves outside a university with the knowledge that the university gives. You have the opportunity of doing the same thing the university students does. Read and study. One must never stop reading. And how do you read? You don't read trash. You read to gain information on human nature. You read with observation, not carelessly. Listen, Garvey said the idea, or let me just not even read the quote, let me just break it down for you. Garvey said, yeah, that we're not even going to live long, right? We're not going to live long enough to understand the world. So the way we're going to better understand things is to read people who's been on earth before, because it will help get or give a better understanding of who we are and where we need to go. And the Negro world, promoted reading. Obviously it's a newspaper, but it had things on history, debates was in there, speeches of Garvey was in there, things going on in the community was in there, a whole heap of things was in there. Garvey said, yeah, read things like autobiographies of men and women who did great things. Read history books by black historians. You know what I mean? And he goes on to say, like, how do you read? Read when you're on the train going to work. He says, use every spare minute reading. If you're on the bus going somewhere, read. Do you know what I mean? Have a book in your bag and always read. There must always be a book in your bag. We black people need to have a library. Right? Encyclopedias need to be in the home. Little things like this, we must constantly be learning. We have to continue to learn. Only a dead man stops learning. Only a dead man stops learning. Garvey started the work. Now it's on me, you, uncle, auntie, cousin, grandma, granddaddy, great-grandma, great-granddaddy, everybody in the race to continue this work. Salute to Marcus Messiah Garvey. I hope this presentation, gave you a little bit of understanding on what Garveyism is, right? Because it's how we move, it's how we operate, it's how we treat each other, right? We're not at war with our brothers and sisters. If we disagree with them for whatever reason, right, we work on them. Because even Garvey was against the teachings of the NAACP, right? But he said that, some of the followers of the NAACP are genuine people. They've just been misguided and misdirected. So we take that same philosophy when dealing with our people. We've got time for our people. Garveyites are nice people, people that, black people will love and respect. They're not bitter. They got good character. Do you understand what I'm saying? And the rest. So salute to Marcus Messiah Garvey, man. Honestly, I can't salute you enough. I cut down this presentation. I hope enough information has been put in here. I know I'm saying a lot of things that I say all the time, but I'm gonna keep saying it until somebody listens, until we start getting it together. But I salute Marcus Garvey, for no man has done what this man attempted to do. I find it, slightly insulting and disrespecting when I hear people talk bad about Garvey, say he's a thief, say he was working for this person and working for that person and all the rest of it, when he is the greatest black man to walk the face of the earth. Look at what the man did. I've showed you all of these things tonight about Garveyism, the businesses and the Black Star Liner and, uniting black people across the globe, breaking down our Christianity, the power that Christianity had over our people. He broke that down and told people, listen, man, you need to start thinking for yourself. Do you understand what I'm saying? He gave people pride. Do you understand what I'm saying? And love for themselves, man. Garvey taught us to love the black blood in our veins. Marcus Messiah Garvey was the true definition of leadership, of courage, of fearlessness. In a time where black men were getting lynched on the streets, Garvey was out there talking what Garvey was talking. Garvey was a revolutionary. When you look at the fight this man had to face, it took the whole white world to take him down, with some blacks too. One man, with no standing army, right? No big titles, like you have some man have this king of this and this or that and all of them things. They don't do nothing with this man. Though this man didn't have no title. He was just a normal man from St. Anne's Bay. Understand what I'm saying? But this one man, was the ultimate threat to global white supremacy. One of my elders says that Garvey is unique. And indeed, Garvey is unique. Garvey is unique, man. There's never been, like I said, another man like Garvey. Never. And I don't know if there will ever be another Garvey. But all I know is that Marcus Garvey gave us the framework, the guidelines in which we should liberate ourselves, right? So we don't necessarily have to have another Garvey. All we need to do is follow the blueprint, which is what I've shown you tonight. The way you look at religion, the way you look at history, the way you spend your money, the way you think, the way you act, the way you treat your brother, the way you treat your sister, family, all of these things, in it. The way you sacrifice your life for the cause, in it. Garvey says, that the problem that we find ourselves in, to get out of it is not going to be an easy one. It's going to take sacrifice and hardship, and some will have to suffer, and some will have to die. This is the reality of this. You know what I mean? This is a war. We're just not fighting back. Garvey said that the Negro is in a serious, desperate mood. And he said, I am only sorry that we have so many weak-kneed, apologetic Negroes amongst us. If we could just get these weak-kneed philosophers to stand up on their knees for just half an hour and get behind the UNIA, we'll be able to shake off the pillars of the world. Or shake the pillars of the world. A lot of people, that some of us have in high regards, sold out the movement of our people. People need to research. And then the honest people like Marcus Garvey, the genuine people like Marcus Garvey, people don't even remember. And the ones that do know of him say he's a thief, he's that, he's this, and all of this. It's insulting. It's disrespectful. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I'm on a timer to keep this under an hour, and we're slightly over, so forgive me, people. I hope you guys enjoyed the information. I hope the information will inspire you to get active, to if you don't see no organization out there that you want to join and create that, mate, and build, make links with people around the world, the black world, try to build, because that's what Garvey did. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's what Garvey and his Garveyism is. The race needs men of vision and ability, men of character, and above all, men of honesty. And trust me, that is hard to find. So we salute Marcus Garvey. We will never stop saluting you, man. We honor Marcus Garvey. We will never stop honoring him, because the man is unique. The man is special. Nobody don't do what this man did, man. Up until now, nobody ain't even attempted to do what this man has done. So we salute you, man, honestly, from my soul, from my heart, wherever people, from my mind, wherever, I salute Marcus Messiah Garvey. And on that note, my people, I want to thank you for taking the time out to listen to this, right? I hope that there's something in there for everybody to inspire them, right? To read up on Garvey and to get busy. And I'm gonna end, right? Right, with this quote, and you can find this this quote on page 210 of the UNIA paper, Marcus Garvey and the UNIA papers, I think volume 7. Right? Men, I want you to realize that you are fighting a battle for the survival of the fittest. It is a battle to be won not under easy circumstances. You cannot win this battle on a bed of roses. You have to win this battle through sacrifice, through hardship of all kinds. Some will have to suffer, and some will have to die. And those whom you're expecting the most of are those who pretend to be your leaders. I counted the cost when I gave my life over to the cause of the UNIA, so nothing can disappoint me. And as far as this great movement goes, I dedicated my life to it, and every drop of blood I have, every bit of energy and ability I possess will be given to no other cause but this, to which all of us profess abiding loyalty. So there is no need for anyone to look for me for cowardice or weakness during this time of trial. We salute you, Marcus Messiah Garvey.